Good evening, everyone. I'm Andrew, one of the two co-founders of Flytrippers. Welcome to our second of our two monthly videos. For those who might be joining us for the first time, every month we do two live videos just to have an appointment, a time slot that you can rely on if you have any questions about travel, whether it's travel rewards or travel in general. And these are the two videos we do every month. So we did the first one yesterday for travel rewards, points, miles, free travel, and today the more general travel questions if you have any. So what we do before is always have a separate theme for every month, just so I can tell you a little bit about a topic. And then if you have any questions for those who are live, we'll be glad to take them right after. You can start asking them right away if you're there and you're interested and want to make sure we answer your question. If not, if you're watching the replay, well, at least we'll have this little theme for the month. And this one's a bit unusual this month, just because usually we try to figure out a topic that's a good tip or something that interests a lot of people. This month, I want to talk about the round the world trip promotion that gives you 1,000,000 points, just in case someone didn't see our post about it or wasn't too sure if they wanted to get in on it. Definitely should. My colleague Vince will already just put the link in the comments if you want to learn more about that. I'll give you a bit of an overview. So have until December 31st. So it's a really short-lived promotion. That's why it's pretty much now or never if you want to do it. Quite a few of us are doing it right now. People are running into each other in all the hubs where these airlines are based out of. So I'll give you a bit of the context. There's an airline. They are doing a promotion that's really basically unheard of in terms of how many points they're giving out. 1,000,000 points. That's a lot. Just to give you an idea, that's about $10,000 worth of flights conservatively, if you don't use them that well, if you're not flexible, or basically baseline value. If you use them well, it could be worth easily $20,000, if not $30,000. So the value is incredible for one promotion. Usually that's the kind of thing they'll give as a contest or giveaway. One lucky winner win 1,000,000 points. It's huge. It's amazing. Now anyone can get it. It's pretty insane. Basically, this is SAS, Scandinavian Airline Systems, so based out of Copenhagen, Oslo, and Stockholm. They are offering 1,000,000 points to whoever flies their 15 of their airline partners in the SkyTeam Alliance. So it's not for everyone. It's not easy by any stretch, but it's not that hard either. Like 15 airlines to get 1,000,000 points, you'd think it would. Everyone is kind of surprised by how accessible it is, really, to get 1,000,000 points. You'll spend about 4,000 Canadian dollars on the flights, but get 10,000 worth of points. So it's really a no-brainer if you have time. And if you had a trip planned to Asia, I'd say, then the cost is really even lower because you were going to pay whatever amount for flights already to go to Asia. If you just push forward this trip to now or next month, you'll be able to get 1,000,000 points. So just to give you an idea, 1,000,000 points, how I plan to use them is, for example, round trips from Canada to Southeast Asia in business class are 165,000 points round trip. So that's 6 trips to Southeast Asia in business class with 1,000,000 points on partner airlines, like Korean Air more specifically, the one that's most likely to be the good value there and the availability findable. So if you use 6 of those, they're worth at least $5,000, and that's 30 grand in free flights you get with just this 1,000,000 points. So it's quite interesting, and it's very nice to travel in business class for long flights, at least like those to Asia. So that's one example. You need even fewer points to go to Europe in business class. If you're more of a Europe person, you can actually even do it on a SAS itself. So you have a flight from Toronto to Copenhagen. It's usually a good deal as well with points. So flying business class to Europe, it's a pretty good deal. So Vincent put the link of my itinerary there in the comments. That's what I'm doing. I'll also share in the next few days a turnkey itinerary that's even more optimized for those who want to just follow something. Yeah, step by step for December if you're flexible. Basically, yeah, it's never rarely seen promo. Million points, pretty cool. Also, I mean, the million points is obviously very fun. I love free travel, but as soon as I saw this when it came out in October, I was immediately obsessed. Uh, at first, I thought it was too good to be true. So once took 10 minutes to actually check it out, and it's actually true, almost unbelievable. Well, I almost immediately kind of decided that I want to do it. It's logistically, obviously, quite a challenge. It was fun to piece together those 15 airlines for the least amount of money and either the most efficient itinerary, which is what I'm sharing for the one I'll share for you this week, or in my case, the most fun itinerary. So I get to see places that I wanted to go to. It was a lot of fun. It's also a lot of flying for really just for the sake of flying, which I always love as a aviation geek. And yeah, it's just more of a once in a lifetime kind of unique experience. And if there's one thing I love in life, it's doing what other people don't do. Just as a general life philosophy, being ordinary or being average is just not something I'm really interested in. So whenever there's a chance to do something that most people won't do, I definitely am excited about that. So yeah, and it's just kind of a modern day rally of having to check off all those 15 airlines. And SkyTeam is already the airline alliance that I was least familiar with, so I thought it was really fun to get to know uh, some of these airlines that I would have probably never flown if it weren't for this really cool promotion. So to give you an idea, before we call it a night or see if you have any questions. So my first week was pretty intense. I intentionally designed it to be way more packed because I wanted to pardon my French, get the fuck out of Europe as quickly as I could so I can get to Asia quicker and where everything's better, where everything's cheaper, where everything's more fun than Europe. Love Asia. So had a lot of flights in a short time frame in Europe. Thought it was a really great idea to get that done right away at the start, and also had planned to have more energy and be more up for a intense travel portion at the beginning. That was discounting that I was not expecting to be very sick. So cold or flu or COVID, whatever it was, I was terribly sick for the whole first week. So that was overall pretty terrible. Had nothing really to do with the promotion itself or the flights, but made the first portion quite unbearable, if I would say. For a 4-day time frame, the first 4 days, like 96 hours, I took an 11-hour train, then a transatlantic overnight flight in economy, and then 6 other flights. This is all within 4 days, while coughing really every 5 minutes and blowing my nose every 10 minutes or so. So yeah, that wasn't the fun part. Averaged, according to my Fitbit sleep tracker, averaged 4 hours of sleep that week. So that is not great, but just glad that part is done. Got to visit the Middle East last weekend. Was feeling a lot better. So I got to see Petra, which is, I think, it's one of the 7 modern wonders of the world. It's definitely deserves a spot on that list. Highly recommend it. It was my first time there. Yeah, can't recommend it enough. And then flew through Saudi Arabia all the way to Singapore, one of my favorite cities in the world. Just great city. Can't recommend it enough. Didn't spend too much time there because, well, it's the highest cost of living city in a radius of literally hundreds of kilometers. Very expensive city compared to everything around it. So then made my way here to Bali in Indonesia, where I am right now, using points for my free Marriott hotel. Great redemption if you have Marriott points in Bali. It's one of the best spots to use your Marriott points. So that's where I am now. I'm literally halfway. Well, there are 15 airlines, not precisely halfway because that's 7.5, and I can't do a video in the middle of a flight, but just in my 8th airline, so I'm literally at the halfway point of the challenge. So far, so good. No major disruptions. That's the biggest risk, right? Flight delay, flight cancellation. Although if you give yourself a buffer like I did, risk is minimized. That's what I did. Like I said, the only thing I had an issue with was my flight from Bucharest, Romania to Amman, Jordan. They canceled it, but this was done 2 weeks before I actually got here, so they gave me plenty of advance notice. And I had 3 days in Jordan because that's where my buffer was before my long flight to Asia. So kind of planned that. Canceled my flight. Didn't have any other flights to rebook me. So actually, there are many of us doing this challenge, and many or mostly very experienced flyers, and many of them were quite surprised that I hadn't rebooked anything until I actually got to Romania the day of my flight was supposed to leave. So I just went to the counter. EU regulations are pretty strict in terms of protecting passengers. So I knew my rights. I knew that I was entitled to them rebooking me on another airline to get where I needed to go. I didn't want to call because I hate calling, literally try to avoid it as much as I can. So waited the day of, got to the counter, told them the flight numbers I wanted on other airlines, and they gave it to me right there on the spot in 2 minutes. I was pleasantly surprised of how efficient it was and how I didn't even really have to fight for it. There were rumors that, Tarom, the Romanian airline, may not be as customer focused as others. It went really well, so that was the only issue I had with my flights up to now. Again, in Europe, I didn't visit anything. Basically, it was in airports, in flights, and in one airport hotel in Paris, Marriott, right near the airport. Just trying to catch up on some sleep and get better. But I did visit Bucharest at the very end of that Europe trip because I love Eastern Europe much better than Western Europe, on really, literally on all aspects. Everything's so much better east. And I had been to Bucharest. I love the city, so I had another day there. Caught up with a friend who's actually doing the challenge himself as well. Obviously, there are many of us doing it, and are all crossing paths in these hubs where these airlines are based out of, like I said. So Bucharest, we're meeting up again on Friday night in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, because Vietnam Airlines is another airline. So we're overlapping there. I think we're overlapping in Bangkok the next week. And finally, both ending our trip in Taipei, Taiwan, before flying back to the US. So I'll meet up there again. And I'm actually meeting another friend who happens to be in Taipei there that very week, meeting with Flytripper's other co-founder, Kevin, in Bangkok, because he's spending the month there. And actually tonight, this afternoon, going to meet with another Canadian friend who just randomly happened to be in Bali right now. So yeah, a lot of fun trip, very intense, more of a business trip, not getting to visit that much, but business of getting 1 million points. And that's the story so far of this one type of trip that doesn't come out very often. I'll invite Vincent on the call just so that for formality, in case you do have any questions, he can put the links, he can help us out. He can talk about Nicaragua because he knows that country more than just about anybody in Canada. He's lived there for years. So yeah, if you have any questions, now's the time. Don't see any right now. So last chance if you have anything about travel you want to know. If not, well, thanks for watching this, and those watching the replay again. We do these every month, even better if you come live so you can ask your questions, but we'll see maybe next month doing them separately instead of 2 nights back to back. We'll try and do them a week apart so that maybe those who want to join for both can have a break and not have to spend 2 evenings watching a travel video. But yeah, so no questions. Thanks, Vincent, for sticking around and in case we had any questions. And thanks to everyone who watched, and see you next month for another series of live videos to answer your questions about travel rewards, sharing the best deals of the month, and then the travel video. Have a good rest of your evening.
Thank you. Have a good night.